Good afternoon. Welcome back to Spice Bruns. I want to take a minute and let's address some black influencers and black celebrities. This has gotten out of hand. So, as you know, my brand is to uplift our community across the diaspora. It is to just celebrate us in every facet that I possibly can. Because as someone who loves our people, our culture, learning and loving our shared histories, it's disheartening when you have people who are more concerned about their bag than about our progress. And this is just something that is another thing that's undermining us as a people. And it's just getting crazier. So who are we talking about? We're talking about these black celebrities and some of these black influencers who are willing to let their bag be more louder than the battle that we're facing. So this is mainly who I would like to address. Not saying that they're going to ever listen or see this message, but it's important that it still is said and pushed out. So for those that are or have risen on the wings of our culture, the fact that you're able to carry a spotlight, you're able to reach so many people, to influence so many people, and do things that so many people can only dream of, no matter where they fall on the socioeconomic or racial ethnic spectrum, that should come with a great responsibility. And the fact that it doesn't is just a tragedy in and of itself. In a time, especially in our community, where we are grappling with real threats, laws that silence us, policies that threaten to erase, to just roll back so many things that we've progressed through with, and the systems that are continuously oppressing us. The world is watching these people amplify their own selfishness. And it's unfortunate that most of them, they have no shame. I mean, some of them aren't even being called out. They're just being celebrated more and more. And it's easy to bask in the glow of viral fame, I guess you can call it, notoriety, whatever you want to call it, to collect the brand deals, get the red carpet invites, to get invited to all these different key people, key spaces, and then you distance yourself from the struggles that so many of us are having to deal with. And some of it is classism. It has anything to do with the fact of being black. Is just classism hits regardless of where you are. But it's just so unfortunate that instead of using their platforms to uplift and tell our stories and help us progress, instead they're using our pain for profit. They're turning a blind eye to injustice. And it's like, do you not understand that you're harming everybody? That you're not just doing this for this little quick minute that you're getting whatever it is that you're getting, but you're actually harming us as a people. And we need more than just entertainment and laughter. We need more than just these people who are going out talking about different forms of branding and all this other stuff. We need people who are going to push our message, who are going to help us progress forward, who are going to see what's happening inside and outside of our communities and not be silent about it. And that's just, it's not about calling them out. It's about calling them in love and concern. And it's about telling them you should be using your platform to uplift us, to inform us, to get rid of this mis and disinformation, and to fight for progress, and to hold the line for all the things that we have gained thus far. And it's unfortunate that their silence and their selfishness is just not allowing that to happen. And it's just all the generations that have come before us that had to fight. Some didn't even see the progress to where we are now. And you got people that are just sitting here and they are going on and on. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about people like the Snoop Dogg's, the Ice Cubes. You got the people like the Candace Owens. You got people like the Stephen A. Smiths, the Shade Room. You got the Breakfast Club. You got so many folks who could be doing so much more for us as a people, but they are not. Do they owe us anything? Not particularly. But if you are going to use the lift that we are providing as a community and you're gaining so much from it, why not give back? Because you should. And it's just so crazy because we're under siege from apathy, from ignorance, from white Christian nationalism, from I don't even know if you want to use the word conservative. To me, conservative is just another softer term for bigot, and in some parts and pieces it's racism disguised as so-called conservatism. Like, what are you conserving? You're not conserving anything. And then it's like these people that are sitting on the Supreme Court, at least 6 out of 9, you're pissing on your precedent. You are rolling back any type of civil rights, and then they are actively telling groups to come and fight for things that they can undermine us even more with. And these influencers and these celebrities, instead of using their platforms to say, hey, we need to rally the troops and get everybody out here and start protecting what we have, they're not. They're going along to get along because why? In some parts it's classism. They're getting the big tax breaks. They're getting all these accesses, and they're not really affected right away by the things that are happening. What things are happening? I mean, our history is being erased, or it's being distorted in such a fashion where, how do you tell someone that you came here as a slave, you were stolen from your land, you were made to be slaves, but now you're telling them they were here as workers, as guest workers? Like, what kind of crap is that? That's foolishness. I mean, it's like you're criminalizing our kids. You're starting in the schools, and you're sending them from the schools to, the prisons, and it's just continuously going on and on and on. And it's just the fact that they're silencing our voices, and it's just, while most of us are fighting to breathe and to get space and to climb up whatever socioeconomic ladder, or just to hold what we got, you got people who are dancing on our graves just to get progress as far as their bags and their influence. So I mean, that's something we got to talk about. So those Nellies, the Ice Cubes, the Snoop Dogs, all those kind of people. And then to add insult to injury, so the Essence Fest, if you're not tracking that, that's where the Essence is a brand. It's a magazine that highlights particularly black women, but black culture. And so typically every year they will hold and if you haven't been, it's pretty awesome. At least the last times I went, in New Orleans, they will host what they call the Essence Fest, and it's usually the first week of July. And they just, they'll have different forums and concerts and stuff so that you can go in and you honor the culture, you learn stuff, you navigate that space, and you network. You have a good time, and then you enjoy, of course, if you've never been to Louisiana or specifically New Orleans, you get down into that culture, and it's a beautiful culture, and you get to eat the different foods and get to hear and see the different aspects of that area. But anyway, so you had Kai Cenat, and I know Kai Cenat, or however he pronounces his name. This guy has always disparaged, this young guy, so he's always disparaged the black community as far as the black Americans, and say stuff like, well, we don't have culture and this, that, and the other. But it's like, why are you at the Essence Fest? And then the fact that you would partner with Target during an active boycott. Like, what in the world are you doing? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like, how do you have a sleep-in and you're pairing with the same people who rolled back the DEI initiatives? And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're actively just pissing on our community. And then to say that, oh, we don't have culture, but yeah, you're at the Met Gala, you're at all these different functions and spaces that highlight black folks, but yet it's still, here you go. It's like, man, from people like him to the Stephen A. Smiths. Dude don't even play sports, but yet he has a mouthful of words for everything negative to say about our community. And the crazy thing is, you are a commentator for black sports, because that's who dominate most of these sports that he's sitting over talking about. But yet he wants you to have respectability sports, and he wants you to comply with the rules and all this other good stuff. At the same time, he'll piss on the Colin Kaepernicks and all these people who are saying, no, we're not just going to sit down and be quiet, because black folks have always been, our existence has always been about politics. It's not a privilege. It's always been about politics. And it's like, You're trying to uplift us. We're trying to carve out spaces and things for us to continue to thrive and to breathe and to, just lift up our culture. And here you are fighting against crap like this. Let alone you got the black MAGA. Like, how do you have black Republicans who are actively supporting legislation that is going to damage not just America but the world, but specifically our communities? Like, how do you sit there and continue to say, "Oh, I'm a conservative," or "I represent," or I fall up under this tent"? It's like, dude, that doesn't even make sense anymore. It's like, how do you support someone who's actively gerrymandering districts, taking away people's hard-earned or hard-fought-for access to the ballot? You're taking away the health care. You're just gutting social safety nets, and then it's okay to still say you're supporting this type of party. We're not all created the same. So I don't really care for Democrats or Republicans, but I know what comes down to harm reduction, which one I'm going to pick if I had to. And I've been voting since I've been 18, and I'm 40-something now. So it's like, how are you guys just sitting here doing this? And if you say, well, why does it matter what they're doing? It matters because, for one, it undermines our activism. That just, I mean, it's since the time that we've been able to come back and fight for anything, they're undermining that. It confuses and it scatters the youth. It scatters the uninformed, and it continues to spread dis and misinformation. That's why it matters. Additionally, it gives cover to white supremacy and their proximites. And that harms every one of us. So if you are a black migrant, a black person who is native to this so-called American land, this USA, it undermines that. It makes you more of a target because they, of all people, have access to certain spaces that we don't. And you would think that they would advocate or put certain things in place so that at least stop the bleeding. You don't have to give us whatever, but at least don't harm us. And so that's why it matters. And it's like you're continuously helping people to endanger our physical, mental, spiritual, and financial well-being. And at some point, I mean, it's like you're either with us or you're against us. 1 minute we're hearing about a platinum plan, and the next minute this dude is ghosting the wind. You got Snoop Dogg who's saying the N-word at their inaugural ball concert or whatever they're hosting, but then at the breath before that he's saying that anybody that goes and supports this guy is a sucker, whatever. But it's like, dude, you like, what is it? Like, they offered you a bag and you totally forgot about us. And so these are the things that it's just like, you're making our jobs harder. You're making it harder to exist, to the point where I've engaged a lot more of the so-called native blacks, or whatever you want to call us, in America, who are looking to be expats somewhere. Because it's like, this is just becoming a very untenable situation where you have, like, everything is for sale. There's nothing that's sacred anymore. There's nothing worth protecting. And it's just crazy. And so in closing, I would hope that these people would use their platforms to not just entertain us or entertain whomever they think they're entertaining, but to center us, to talk about the black educators, the activists, to center our communities, to fight for policies that are going to sustain us, that are going to at least not harm us. And, to support, black businesses, black media, different things that would help us progress forward. You got so many black immigrants who are here working hard and trying to fit into wherever they're going to fit in at. And it's like, dude, it's like, how do you tell someone that they're here illegal, but then when they're doing the right thing, you strip them of their legal status to make them illegal, and no one is saying shit? It's like, this doesn't even make sense anymore. At some point, we're going to have to all collectively get together and protect our own interests, because sitting silent or trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing is not working. It's just not going to happen. It's going to leave us more stranded and isolated, if anything. So in closing, I would just say, we don't need perfection. We don't need you to give us sympathy or whatever. What we need is courage. We need people who are willing to stand in the gap in spaces and in places that we don't have access to, or maybe limited access, and advocate for us. If you're going to be there and you're going to use the privileges that you've gathered from being in our communities or being adjacent to our communities, the least you could do is to help us and not harm us. or stand out of the way, but don't sit here and mock us like what some of these black celebrities and influencers are doing. So I would just encourage you, if you got a platform, if you got anything, to reach out to these people or their sponsors, advocates, or whatever, and let them know that we don't appreciate this, and they need to really come online and change their behaviors. Thank you.